just like done with me already. You're just like, my God, I have to work with this man.
It's just, what an intro and a half, right? But look, we are going to be rotating things through very, very quickly. Game 2, pick and ban, is already on our screen. Of course, we are a little bit behind because the game in Xi'an will have started about... Well, what was it, 2 hours ago
minutes,
at this stage?
Yeah, about 40 minutes before we came into the actual start of game 1. But
yeah,
we try to make up as much time as possible. Going down through this now, you can see the Rumble actually swaps hands this time around. It will not be Beishang on that pick. It will be in the hands of SofM. And looking down the kind of board of things, I actually really do like the fact that we're seeing the Sett again here for the side of Team WE.
Yeah, again, it feels like we've got kind of like for Suning a strong mid-game team fighting composition, right? You bounce off the double AD carries, the fact you got Rakan and also this Wukong to set up heavy engage for the Rumble. And then when you look across the opposite side, we're kind of seeing actually nearly similar to kind of what WE were doing, right? You can have Suning were doing in the last game is, Elk having this mid-game spike. Ezreal can work super well with the Sett here for Mole, where you can set up some of these team fights. But certainly they're going to be waiting to see a little bit of time until Breathe can come online. Breathe definitely adding that late game scaling to this team.
Well, we are onto the rift. We will not delay any longer. We are jumping straight into game 2. We now see the Gwen go into Breed's hands. He looked like he had a pretty firm grasp of it, or at least how to play against it in game 1. We'll see how he's able to do with it in game 2. And missing on his patented Alistar, something he has been very, very known for such a long time, and will be hampered, I will say, a little bit just by the fact that you cannot use Hex Flash.
Yeah, we'll make things a little bit easier in that bottom side for someone like Huanfeng, but I'm actually looking at this mid lane because usually when we see Sett in the mid lane, right, it ends up being against some sort of AP mage, and he actually has a pretty okay time. But because he's against Lucian has the consistent damage, which honestly Sett's hate, because it means that you can't get the passive regen as much as you'd like, and with the amount of poke and everything else that comes through, it can actually make this matchup a little bit more difficult for the Sett. So certainly Angel going to have a lot of control here in the mid lane as bot side.
Oh, we actually see a heal having been burned there by Elk, as it was just on going in with the grand entrance and able to make a play out of nothing offensively, but a little bit of a misplay as we see now the bot lane very much going in favor of Suning in the early stages. And I'm curious to see now with SofM on this Rumble, we obviously saw how powerful it was in game 1 for Beishang. Will Beishang be able to have the same level of control over these early objectives?
Well, certainly for the early stages, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for SofM, right? You're not up against something like the Kindred, but the reason you pick Udyr, you can match the Rumble clear very effectively. But also then when you look towards the ability to actually like go head to head against them, it's not quite there. When you look at objectives though, certainly I'm looking at kind of across the board at Suning. Bin should have a reasonably okay time once he gets kind of a few items underneath him for that top lane matchup. Sorry, a few levels underneath him for that top lane matchup. As well, you've got full control mid, full control bot, and SofM actually already, you can see, using the pressure that's gained from Elk having to burn that heal in the early stages to go and invade onto Beishang's blue buff.
Yeah, they are looking for something here. The Q's Mystic Shots will be able to hit it. This blue buff losing a little bit of its patience with this whole team. Ends up going over to the side of, I believe, Suning in that particular one. SofM picking that one up, and he has to flash away. Does get the smite down as well. Mole does not hit the face breaker, and Angel on the backside picks up first blood. They will be able to chase down SofM. You imagine Elk is going to be able to pick this one up, no problem whatsoever. Mole is now here. It's 3v3. Teleports are there, and they're going to commit to it. On gets himself out with the grand entrance. They get the teleport to get everyone out safely, and they should be able to still get themselves back into the lanes.
Yeah, but keep your eyes on that top side of the map, because Bane is going to be able to shove this in. You've got Breathe, who had to TP down for that play, so it goes 1 for 1. Suning get the objective, and Bin is bot time on the top side of the map. So even though it didn't quite go the way that they wanted, Angel getting that kill and the time bot for Bin in that top side are going to be so much nicer. Plus, look at the wave, as you're saying, as we're talking about a Breathe losing, but Angel...
Oh, Mole's in a lot of trouble though. No flash available to him, and he's just getting auto-attacked and harpooned down. Almost a great play there on top of Angel, but that is going to be a favorable kill now into this mid lane. You can already see the CS is absurdly large here for Angel. He is going to have so much time and pressure, but Might be in a little bit of trouble. They're going to jump straight in on top of him. The grand entrance, no, not going to be used. The flash has to be invested, but he dies anyway, and now they can jump on the Huanfeng. There is a TP available. It's all action all the time. Welcome to the LPL, and they jump straight down onto Huanfeng as he will drop, and that will be a very welcome kill going over to Elk. Not quite dying just yet, but look at this massive wave. Look at the gold. Look at the action. Everything happens all the time.
I mean, it's just swinging back and forth, right? Suning, they make the plays in mid, they get the kills onto Angel, like we're going to see in this replay here, where you've got the perfect spot for SofM to come wrap around and help out his mid laner. But on the bottom side, you're losing so much for Suning, and especially when you look at Huanfeng, who not going to be able to have as good as a time as he was hoping he could in this game. Maybe this gives the opportunity for Elk to have that big carry performance once again. He's very much going to be able to get that Divine Sunder nice and early, and then be able to work with Mole, as we talked about, potentially towards these early dragons. Now, Dragon has only spawned 30 seconds ago, but still, you could potentially look for that play with Beishang off this clear, because you've got the advantage for Elk when it comes towards that Sheen that he's picked up.
Yeah, Elk again having another fantastic early game, really putting himself on the map as, you know, again, like I mentioned, you know, or like you mentioned, just kind of the star player, one of the star players for Team WE, and really is going to be on him to not get, or to keep WE, you know, in this particular fight. And as I say that, he's got heal, he's got arcane shift, and he should be just fine. He's going to have to back away though, as they did have missing from the bot lane.
Yeah, will make his way here just in time as the wave crashes, though, so looks like they should be fine as long as Missing doesn't go that way. You know, he never respects that. Goes, actually.
He heard you. Yeah. He's just like, hang on, my Dagda sense is tingling. Dagda told me not to do something here. As Angel does find himself in towards this bot side, and this is the pressure you're able to garner now when you have that extra teleport. We mentioned it obviously in our first series, not having it does leave you open to a lot of cross-map plays, and this is just Suning paying back the favor into WE, saying, look, we know what you're trying to do, we know what you're trying to go for. Speaking of trying to go for something, On did go in, he got ignited, but it is Missing who's first to fall. This tower will get reset, and it is only just a trade of 1 kill for nothing. Couple of plates, a lot of minions died, nothing else happens.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Suning try and... Actually, no, it looks like they're not going to. Maybe turn towards the dragon, especially if they knew that Beishang was on this top side, but not knowing where the WE jungler is, they're actually just going to back away. So a kill, they denied a huge amount of CS, and SofM did lose a little bit of farming time and a bit of jungle pressure, but definitely worth it to get Huanfeng back on track.
Definitely is. We can see Beishang looks hovering around this mid lane, but I feel like Angel kind of says, look, I haven't seen you for a long time, my friend. I do not know where you are or where you have been, so I'm going to play a little bit more respectfully. Beishang, now knowing that the Rumble is on the bot side of the jungle, going to go back in and steal some more camps for himself and see if he can maybe make something work up in this top side. But with level 6 for Bin, very difficult with that Cyclone.
Yeah, he has the Cyclone available. Well, doesn't have the Cyclone available, but also nothing available for Breathe, so could make this a little bit easier to set up.
Well, the TP going to be committed. That's all they did. It's exact same in game 1. You get the TP out. Angel again having to commit that one there. They get the pressure. They get themselves out.
Yeah, and I mean, look, either way, getting that TP is going to pay dividends in the future if they can try and add to it. But still, it's Suning with TP advantage. Bin still has one. Breeds is only on 3/4 of the cooldown. So still, this map kind of belongs to Suning right now. They can look to try and make plays. But if we look at, like, the objectives, SofM just about to solo out this Rev Tower on top side, use the fact that Bin has that pressure. When we look towards Dragons, haven't been picked up at all thus far, and when you're trying to find these opportunities to like actually get the game going, you're kind of buying time for Breathe to get into better position where he's going to be able to actually have a bigger impact in team fights the later this game goes. Whereas when you look at Suning, their mid-game spike is so damn strong, you'd love to try and force those fights.
Well, speaking of forcing fights, it looks like it's going to be a bot lane dive here. As we can see Mole and Beishang both hovering around. On is there and has got himself his escape as they're trying to just separate them out. Now he doesn't really have anywhere to go, so he's going to be jumped on straight away. Not quite taken down, does end up surviving. They get another TP, this time out of Bin. Mole forced to flash away. This time around, it is no kills to either side, and Non gets himself away just by a whisker. But Breathe and Mole will have teleport advantages should this dragon now be the focus.
This is the kind of game, if I'm a support, where I'm just like, please just leave my lane. I just want to be can we just farm? Can we just not have a Fortnite lobby in our bottom lane? Like, just leave us alone. There's so many people that are down here. But this is the thing, is like, you're now looking at Huanfeng, who, yes, has been able to kind of answer back for some of that early pressure, but we still got the 2 kills going to Elk. Divine Sunder in the way. Stridebreaker underway for Mole as well, so the 1-item spikes at least are starting to come together. But again, like, if we get towards these dragons, which I'm assuming we'll eventually, you have like the Divine Sunder that's going to be picked up by Wukong, the Night Harvester for this Rumble. Like, these are insanely strong items that you can try and play around as Sunni, but we're just not really seeing any sort of objective control being focused down towards that bottom lane.
Yeah, not as of yet. I still believe that WE were waiting for the, the perfect storm of summoners and ultimates to be able to kind of set themselves up. They're falling a little bit behind, but nothing too untoward. About 500 gold or so, maybe a little less than that, a little bit more maybe. And they are still just trying to scale up. We talked about the Divine Sunder. If they can get that online before any kind of big dragon fight does end up happening, that is a big, big power spike for this Ezreal. We've talked about it a million times. But it is going to be an interesting kind of setup, because you've got the Cyclone, the Equalizer. You've so many ways of setting up this team fight if you're on the side of Sunni. You have to respect that if you're on the side of Team WE.
So I like this from WE. Look at the ward that they placed in towards the bit on the side. I can't remember the name for it. Basically what they want to do is make sure they've got a TP ward for when SofM tries to make the Herald play boss.
Yeah, they're going to go for a 2-man knock-up, and there's nowhere for On to go except flash away, and a flash from SofM. Beishang trying to just run into him. The Q not going to be hitting. No flashes available for anybody on Team WE to follow up these kills. And that is just such an unfortunate time for them. They invest so much and kind of come up empty-handed.
Yeah, if they'd got the kills, they could have done so much, turned that into a bottom tier 1, and actually answer for the plates that Bin is trading on the top side. Now, you still get the Dragon going the way of Beishang. It looks like he might actually be able to get some turret plates for Elk in the bottom lane, but that was so well read by WE. It's like, Sunni we've already know SofM is going to be pathing bot side. Chances are we're going to see this Rift Tail play try to go there, but with them being dissuaded, Sunni now are just going to run straight top and try and collapse onto Mole.
This is going to be a hard one to do, but with the Rift Herald, the Equalizer, oh, Mole, where are you going to go, buddy? To your death, to the grey screen. There's nowhere else for you to go. As we can see now, everyone is going to be sharing in a nice little bit of gold and plates, while Ezreal solo pushes in this bot side. Doesn't have his flash, but does have his heal and his arcane shift, so is still pretty damn safe in that lane. And this is a tit-for-tat game, but it does feel like it's Sunni are the ones that are coming out on top after a couple of these early skirmishes.
It definitely, when you look towards the top side of the map, right? Because certainly Bin has been accelerated a slight bit because he's been able to get those turret plates, even up that CS deficit that we're seeing there. Is when you look towards the mid lane as well, Angel having 2 kills already. You're actually going for the Kraken Slayer versus the usual Gale Force we see on the solo lane Lucians, but will mean he can rip through Beishang, Breathe, Mole as well if he gets the opportunity. So definitely the top side of the map is in control for Sunni. But if you look at Elk, he is still pretty, well, relatively far ahead compared to Huanfeng with the 200 gold lead. So you've kind of got opposite sides of the map split between the two teams.
Well, we won't see pretty much any action, I'd imagine, for another 3.5 minutes. At that point, everyone's flash should be back, everyone's teleport, everyone's ignite, and we might have 1 or 2 items finished up as well. So right now it is going to be WE just kind of soaking in as much as they possibly can. They are about 2,000 gold behind, so not really in a great position, but Divine Sunderer has been finished up for the Ezreal. They are almost at a first item as well, the Stridebreaker for Mole. They are slowly but surely getting to those item breakpoints.
The front to back from Sunni, though, is going to be insanely strong for W to try and deal with. Kraken Slayer on both Angel and Huanfeng means that, like, if you try to approach this as Mole, missing, there's so much damage that's going to be coming through from that third attack that you're just not going to be able to withstand it. And when we're looking at, like, the big engages that can come through from On and Bin, followed up with the Equalizer and this double AD carry, WE need to be so damn careful about how they want to approach these fights. Now, obviously, having that first dragon going their way, we're like 14 minutes into the game before we even are looking at the second one in 2 minutes. So it's not like they're under pressure as WE to try and take fights, but certainly they do need to be careful about how strong Sunni are right now.
speaking of item breakpoints, Beishang is actually gone for the Turbo Chem Tank. His Mole does try and find himself a little bit unfortunately caught out, gets himself killed. Missing is there, but Missing just going to have to be a bystander to watch as his friend dies. Breathe might be in a bit of trouble on this top side. SofM does have his equalizer, but very difficult to make anything go. But apart from that kill, yeah, just going to be the Rift Herald there for Suning, and they're the ones that are taking those early objectives. They're the ones that are kind of finding the pressure around the map.
Yeah, and they can continue now to put that pressure elsewhere, right? Ooh, hang on, top side.
Oh, we're going to see Cyclone. Bin just gets 1v1, uses his flash as well, the power of the Ignite. And now SofM gonna say hello to the Alistar and back himself away. But while that was happening, Angel gets run down by the Turbo Chem Tank. And that is 2 kills that mitigate a hell of a lot of pressure that Suning just got for themselves.
Yeah, now this pressure can certainly be brought back when you look towards the ability to like use that Rift Herald mid, try and get some plays, but being able to shut down a lot of that pressure, at least for now, will buy WE some time. And you can already see, like, okay, Breathe 1v1 Bin in the side lane, and especially with the kind of the eclectic mix of items that he's got, when he's able to actually finish off some of the mythics and get towards a better buy, it's only going to become harder and harder for Bin to deal with that. So I think for a lot of this now, like, you have to be pretty cognizant of Suning that side lanes may not be your friends. You need to start putting pressure onto the map, and you need to start looking towards these dragons. Force WE into fights where they actually have to go against your team fighting composition.
Yeah, the first dragon going over to WE, definitely a godsend for them. So we have a look at the replay, and this is just, he just runs them down.
Yep, Chem Tank, slow. Angel doesn't have the culling either, so with that dash, isn't quite able to buy the distance that he needs, and Beishang chases him down. I mean, Udyr, even with the nerfs towards Chem Tank and towards himself, still pretty alright jungler.
Yeah, he's alright. He's alright. A lot of people obviously would prefer the Frostfire Gauntlet to, you know, kind of set him up there. There's a couple of different builds. I've seen a couple of Divine Sunderers as well if you're really feeling frisky. But now looking down the line, you're kind of seeing a lot of these armor items being picked up here. And this is kind of the big problem, if you will, for the side of Suning. Is like, yes, you do have a mix of Rumble there, which are, you know, all your other items, but Snon, not going to be snot out, but as we see now, Breathe getting caught out here, or is he the one catching out Bin? There is a level lead and a TP being invested, and a hell of a lot of other people joining in. They're going to try and give this one over to Mole. They're going to try and gift that one to him to try and get him back to a relevant position, and that is going to be an easy kill, trade into the turret. And this is the gears that we know so well for WE. They just kind of pick a gear and they move into it as quick as possible. Missing though, might have to force his own flash. There's the equalizer. Hasn't flashed just yet, hasn't ulted either. They are just going to be able to use the Blast Cone, and honestly, Suning, I feel like they could have invested a bit more into that.
Well, it was a 3v4, so I think everyone was kind of like, hang on, what are we doing here? Because WE obviously not having some of the ultimate from Breathe means that the Gwen is actually kind of lackluster in a lot of these fights without it. And you were still kind of looking, going, okay, Mole, he's got his ult, we don't really have Elk here, so a bit of a curious situation where no one was actually sure who out-damaged who, so they all just end up backing away at the end. Now Breathe collecting bot side, he's finished his Rift Maker, he's going to be able to finish off this Sonya's as well, and he's very quickly getting to a point where Bin is not able to deal with it. He's got the level lead, he's got that Ignite, which is taking away a lot of the healing coming from this Divine Sunder that Bin has picked up, so it makes it really hard for the Suning in the side lane play.
Yeah, and SofM has flash. Can he get out though? That's the question. The headbutt pulverize is enough, and Beishang picks up a kill. This is the same as game 1. WE looking like the more proactive team, looking like the team that wants to make the plays. You also still have flash available to you on Mole and on Beishang, so you can't even walk up to this tower or to this death ball, if you will. And exactly what's going to happen in the bot side is exactly what you said. This level lead, there's an advantage that you have accrued for yourself from Breathe, means that Bin can't go near him.
Yeah, because he doesn't know where Beishang is. All they know is that the bottom side of the jungle belongs to WE, whereas the top side trades for Suning. So they're trying to see if they can push on top, but you know that Mo's there, he's too tanky to deal with. Breathe is completely forcing Bin away from this tower, and now they can finish it off.
That is a 2-level lead in a top lane. It's so rare to see such a massive gap forming as such. And Breathe, honestly, flash into the grand entrance, try to use the quickness as well, as Elf does just end up getting caught out. Huanfeng using that killer instinct to his fullest. That's a nice little trade back, but back to my point of that, you know, this was someone we said, again, Bin is the one that usually Suning set up to succeed. He's the one that usually try to put in the early resources, and he has to play on the back foot in this series.
Yeah, and it's definitely somewhere that Bin is not comfortable playing in, but Suning now do have control. They're going to get that second charge. Equalizer down.
Equalizer is down. They will pick up Mole, who had to flash away, but it was all too little too late, and that's 2 quick turrets, 2 quick kills in favor of Suning, and they are starting to ramp back up into a 4,000 gold lead. Sorry, 3,000 gold lead.
And it's off of a nice pick from On as well. Getting that kill on towards Elk nets them the terror. Unfortunately, Mole, he's so far behind right now. Angel has been fully controlling this mid lane, and we talked about it already. Sett, great against those AP mages. Does not like playing against AD mid laners just because that consistent damage makes it so hard for him to engage that regen. They're continuously poking him, prodding him, and you can see he's only just picked up the Bramble Vest. He was sitting on only the Stride Breaker for that play, and how quickly he melts when you've got this double Kraken Slayer build from Angel and Huanfeng.
A lot of DPS being able to throw him down there very, very quickly, and if you're not able to mitigate it, you will fall. WE, they are still in this game. They still obviously ways away from stacking dragons. They have found a couple of picks. I will say Beishang having a fantastic game, 2-0 and 4, really setting himself up to be able to be a facilitator within this team and going full tank as well, just to be sure, as SofM finds a nice little combination of the W on top of the Mystic Shot. This is not a fun time, but Beishang now, he's so fast and he's so much presence around the map, and he can just start taking as many camps, and this is where I want to see if SofM can answer this on his end.
Well, a lot of posturing around mid as this dragon is in 40 seconds, so a lot of the key engagements for like Mole's flash not going to be available, so Mole trying to see if he can move into a better position here as Breathe also comes to join the push-pull that is going on in mid lane, but unfortunately without any sort of like upgrade essentially for your minions, they're going to fall fairly quickly. Now Suning, double Kraken Slayer, turn over towards this Baron.
Yeah, double Kraken Slayer and a Rumble means that they can just absolutely just melt this Baron as it stands. There's the equalizer, doesn't really land onto anybody if I'm being totally honest. And Mole goes in, does land the face breaker, does start the slow stopper as well, and they will stop the Bin from getting his Cyclone off. You can see On trying to go in with the quickness, but everyone just disengages. And again, Suning try to go for something, but it's WE that are looking like the more proactive.
But again, like, I'm not getting these ultimates from SofM. Like, you have a super strong combo with Bin and with On. Like, if On manages to collect even 2 people in that ultimate, suddenly Bin jumps in with the Cyclone, you get the equalizer down on top of it, and it becomes incredibly hard for you to deal with as WE. Now, though, Suning feeling like there's too many members of W on the bot side, will try to make the play, but Angel, he fails it over the wall.
Yeah, he failed it a little bit, and that means all it does take is TP and a culling equals a ultimate there from Missing. The Unbreakable has been popped, but it's a relatively short cooldown for a support, so definitely feeling like they've come out on top of that play, and that's going to delay a lot of what Suning want to do. You can't really play with a teleport now. You know, you only have the 1 compared to the 2 of WE.
And that's the thing, we are looking at a 3,000 gold, well, 2,000 gold leads, let's call it, for Suning. But it really doesn't feel like that because of the way that this game is going to go. With Breathe having full control when it comes towards these solo lanes, Suning getting consistently caught out as well. Like, you're now in a position too where, Thornmail going to be completed super soon for Mole, which makes the Angel and Huanfeng combo a little bit more difficult to for that to pull off. So you still have a heap here as WE to work with, and they're not overly worried about Suning and the way that they're playing this game so far.
2.5 items for both AD carries. You are on the 2.5 items as well for Angel, but importantly to note, when you run this double AD carry composition with a double Kraken Slayer, you naturally build in the Frozen Heart. If you're on Elk, you naturally build towards an armor resistant kind of setup. Look at his health bar, it's almost as large as Missing's in terms of actual health, so he is going to be very, very difficult just to burst down once he gets those 3 items. And speaking of difficult to burst down, Breathe and Mole are around the side. They may look for an engage.
Tries to go on towards Breathe, but kind of realizes that's not the trade they want. Now Mole, though.
Mole has been caught out. He's going to try and use his face breaker to get himself out. Missing did not have the Unbreakable to keep himself alive, and that's 2 more kills. Seems to be pick for pick on either side, and now the Baron might be on the cards here for Suning.
Now, you still have to deal with Breed, still low health bars on Sunni, especially when Elk is able to get so much poke down. Going into the pit would still be dangerous. They're waiting for On. He's got the reset, and now that they're going to be able to move over, waiting for On to potentially flank on towards WE.
This is a bit dangerous. Elk does not have his ultimate just yet, but he does have those mystic shots. And oh my god, look at those Qs just hitting Huanfeng. He's already down to half HP, and you still have Beishang lit flash. You still have that opportunity, as we can see there goes On, trying to jump on top of this. Sunni have backed away from the Baron, is still doing extra damage, and now the fight's being turned around. 5v3, and it's still going to be Sunni looking to try and take this fight. They're still 5v3. They lose one. They don't want to change the odds. This one, ooh, the blast cone is super unlucky there for Elk. He almost catches out On, but it is still going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And now, do you just turn and burn? Look for
Snipe!
Oh, the snipe! On is down. Elk has been able to make this an advantageous trade. TP into the mid lane. This Baron will take a while, though. You do not have great burst onto this objective.
Well, Breed is going to be dealing true damage, but Bin, Angel, and Huanfeng are here. They need to try and make a call. There's the turn.
There it is, the turn, the burn, they catch out Angel, and they keep on the Baron as well. That's what you like to see if you're a WE fan. They get 2 quick kills, they get themselves the objective, they can reset, get on the map, and set up to get themselves on the soul point as well.
And what a performance from WE, taking the 3v5 that quickly went to 4, back to 3v5 again, but finding the victory in that fight. Finding the opportunity to turn with Mole having that ultimate and picking off members of Sunni. Now again, it is a neck and neck in gold, but definitely with this Baron, WE are the ones in control.
Absolutely, and with this Baron, you'll see them able to push in all these different waves, get yourself set up, but this is just, look at the damage that this Elk is able to do. Like, he's just constantly throwing out Qs and just burns them so quickly.
It's insane. The amount of damage that comes out of the Divine Sunder is nuts on Ezreal. That's why we're seeing him as kind of such a high priority pick. But as well, like the safety that he's able to do, like was able to get away from the engage coming through from On. He's got so much follow up when you're flashing over walls, and you've got the arcane shift. Like, and then again, snipe here just on the inch of On, gets caught of it. And now we're looking towards WE. Push going in mid. You've got Breed back in control on the top side. He's so damn strong with the Cosmic Drive picked up as well that you can't deal with him as Bin. So you can see Sunni, they're hoping to make a play mid.
What was that? Okay, SofM, that equalizer was definitely not what your team needed, and that means that your big team fighting tool is no longer available. Sunni going to have to deal with Breathe in this top side. He, as you mentioned, has got the Cosmic Drive and the Riftmaker. He is going to be able to shred through these towers as well, considering he has just got a huge amount of stats loaded into Gwen's kit. And then we'll see them pushing into the mid lane. They're going to be able to take down this tier 2. This will be the final tier 2 that they have yet to take. And now the objectives get a little bit hard, but I think for the first time in this game anyway, they've got themselves a gold lead, and they'll be able to put themselves on soul point.
Yeah, getting this dragon now too, you already can see how difficult Sunni are how difficult a time Sunni are having at dealing with WE. Side lanes are fully in control of Breed. Like 1v1, he dismantles Bin. Then you got to try and look at, okay, cool, well, do we try and fight the 4v4? Well, they haven't really been able to find a position that is comfortable for them to fight. Elk is doing a really good job of staying safe while churning out a bunch of damage with these mystic shots. SofM ain't waiting for On. I'm not sure why, because I feel like if they'd actually comboed correctly between On and SofM's ultimates, maybe they could have fought back against WE, but it's looking a little bit messy from Sunni. WE are capitalizing, and Breathe and Bowler on the flank again.
Yeah, they're on the flank. They already catch somebody out. You can see there, Huanfeng with a single ultimate is down below half his HP. But now the inside track belongs to WE. They've got themselves on the side of the base that is supposed to belong to Sunni, and Sunni got to find their way in. The base will be cracked without any major objective being traded.
Yeah, and that's going to be the inhibitor down, and now here's a wave that we prepped earlier. WE can shift down towards that bottom side of the map, look to try and continue this. Now, Sunni in a better spot to try and defend this, but still the poke is going to rain down.
This thing goes a little bit too far aggressive, has to force a flash out of himself, and that means that your engage is very much mitigated here for Team WE. You will see the culling come out, it will just give everybody a nice little pat on the back. Angel does about as much damage to everyone else as that Q did to him, so Everyone just going to back away, spend the gold, try and get him
Oh,
out.
Mo!
Oh! Nicely done by Mole. He goes in and trying to go, but I don't think the rest of his team was prepared. His team were not ready for them to go in so hard, and there is going to be missing, almost certainly dropping as well. WE tried to double down on it after the fact, but they just weren't ready.
And you can see Mole, the idea there, get onto Angel, try and get him back in towards the waiting hands of WE, but unfortunately got slowed, not able to make his way in behind the mid laner of Suning, and WE, now that push is completely thwarted. Still though, 3 dragons towards WE. That next dragon's going to be up in 3 minutes. You're still seeing like a lot of these late game items to come through on Breathe, so you're not entirely out of the woods yet as Suning, but it is definitely some nice go back in your favor. You see there, Mo trying to get in behind Angel, but the slow that came through from SofM, and he couldn't quite get there, and then on again, just about manages to clip onto Missing, which means they managed to get another kill onto the support, but bit too aggressive coming through from the WE mid laner.
Little bit too aggressive there, but Mole, that's why we love him. That's why we think he's such a fantastic mid laner. He will go for those opportunities. He will try, make that shot happen, because if it does, they win the game there and then. There is no extra, dragon. There is no Baron fight in 1 minute's time. It is just the game from that point onwards. So, gotta respect the hustle, and with that Sorelda's Grudge being picked up there by Angel, it does end up being a little bit of a nuisance when you're trying to get behind people, especially with the Facebreaker. So, curious to see how Mole will be able to change his position on that, as we now see Breathe still 2 levels ahead of Bin and still being a menace to the sidelines.
Yeah, surprised to see this Sorelda's Grudge on Angel, but hold on.
Oh, on. Jumping in, but you've used all of your disengage tools. They're going to use the Equalizer again, very lackluster. They do get the Facebreaker though on top of everybody. They're going to need to try and get Huanfeng out of here if they can. They do take down Angel. Huanfeng is on the back end though, just burning down these health bars. And with 20 seconds until Baron, this is all Suning. And this is what happened to WE.
I don't know. They were in such a good spot, and suddenly they keep trying to bite off more and more than they can manage. Mo goes in too far. He's getting ripped to shreds by how much damage can come out so quickly, especially as we talked about, like from these AD carries. And now Suning, they're the ones that are on the Baron. They're the ones that could potentially be looking to turn this game around.
They will get the Baron, which gives them a push in pretty much every single wave. They will reset, get themselves onto the map with pink wards for this Infernal Soul, but this looks like it's a bit of a bot to get. Elko's super aggressive, immediately has to flash.
Yeah, I mean, just a mistake there from Elk going too far forward. Like with Mole and Beishang on the way, sure, Breathe is coming, but again, you're like, everyone is just going that step too quickly. Where Elk goes in too far, he's forced to flash out. Mole goes in too far, he goes down. And that's before Breathe is even there. Now, you can see Breathe, when he gets the opportunity, can deal so much damage, but there's no reason to rush these plays. You've already got that mid inhib down. Breathe can win the 1v1, and now we're looking at Dragon, where you've got no flash onto Elk. You don't have a lot of these big key abilities like Mole's flash available either, so Suning can play this slow.
Can play this slow, but they've already got minions into that mid lane as well. Bin is behind them right now. Cyclone and Flash available. He would be massive if he's able to get off onto this backside. Elf, no Flash available to him. No heal. Very, very important to see how they're able to get onto this backside. You can see Bin trying to go in now. He goes in onto the backside. The Dragon goes down, and the team fight is almost certainly going in the favor of Suning. They've got the backline dive. They're going to see if they can get anything else. They do not get the Facebreaker from the Sett, or indeed the ult, as he's just melted too quickly. It ends up being a 3 for 1, excuse me, in favor of Suning. And this game honestly feels like it's just going to go to a game 3. I think we're going to a full 6 games today, Dagda.
Yeah, Missy trying to play ring around the rosy, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if he doesn't escape, you've got the full push now in the mid lane coming through from Angel and SofM. You do have the cooldowns coming, or the respawns coming through in the next 15 seconds, so they can't really push on for more than maybe these outer turrets, as WE will be respawning.
Yeah, we'll get maybe 2 inhibitors off of this, maybe only the one. Missing trying his very best to keep on as honest as possible, as just is going to be able to take them down. Supportal combat is always going to go in favor of the Rakan in those situations, and this is just WE just hard forcing such weird things. Honestly, I think at that stage you just give up the Dragon and just try and just defend your base.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm surprised nobody noticed on WE that like random ward being placed into the brush there, because they would have known exactly where the monkey was. But Wukong is able to get into the backside. Bin does an amazing job of instantly jumping onto Elk, bursting him down, and even though you still have a lot of damage coming through from Breathe, there is definitely not enough to try and carry these fights without the AD carry in tow.
All of a sudden, it's a 6,000 gold lead just ballooned from nothing, from a couple of misplays in favor of Suning, as WE just try and scramble themselves back. Baron has just gone off of cooldown, so they will be able to get that objective in the next 2.5 minutes, or sorry, 3 minutes, excuse me, with 3 minutes being on the Infernal Soul as well. And for WE, you just need to get your cooldowns back. You need your flashes, you need your teleports, you just calm the hell down and just relax. You don't need to be going aggressive. And for Elk, coming in after a fantastic performance, they're going aggressive into a choke point. Mole has to stop his forward movement to try and just mitigate some of that culling damage, and he's dead.
Sorry, Penguin, do you want to finish that point? Would you like to finish that point about? Yeah, no.
My point stands. WE are just being idiots.
Well, look,
they're just being silly.
Mole definitely having not the best of games here. 3-9, managed to face check that. I mean, you don't even have Baron. There's no need to go in there. But regardless now, WE, it is up to Elk, it is up to Breathe to try and hold this base. But you can already see Bin is pouring the super minions through the mid lane. Suning go for the top lane turret, and WE have to disperse instantly.
Yeah, they have to back away. They cannot defend this one right now. Unless they land a bit of poke, it's just not really going to work for them. They get the inhibitor, and they get out.
This now becomes a pretty much an uphill battle for WE. Oh my god.
Yeah, they just going to burn down Beishang. The TP going to be coming in from the Sett. He's on the backside, but look, they're waiting for him. They know that they can go for something. Oh
no.
Oh no. We are going to a game 3. The full 6 games today as Angel finds himself on the back line. It's going to be Elk trying his best to try to defend this one here. He's landing those Qs. He's landing as much as he possibly can. He might be able to get something off of this, but without anything in the back pocket, it's going to be very, very difficult. He's still going, but Huanfeng is there. The ace is on. The Huanfeng is huge in this game. The double AD carries are enough to take down WE. And Dagda, we're going to a game 3.
A full 6-game day here in the LPL. We might have caught up a little bit, maybe, we don't know, on the live version, but still, strange performances coming through from WE. They looked like they were in full control of this game, like they'd actually set themselves up well, but a couple of mistakes coming through from Mole mean that they're not quite able to keep pace with Suning. And Suning find those opportunities to come back from those fights, find those opportunities to go for the objectives, and bring back this game to push us to that game 3.
Yeah, the first 6-game day we've had so far in the LPL, but we are almost certainly going to be loving it. Again, we knew that coming into today, these 2 series were going to be exceptionally close in relative skill. We can see that with WE versus Suning, and now, of course, you know, moving on, previously in the day, we had it with LNG versus Billy. But I gotta say, like, it just felt like, again, similar to Spring Split. If you didn't watch any of it, this was kind of the same issue we saw in Spring Split, where yes, you've made a better mid laner. You know, I'm not going to argue Mole is better than Shanks in that regard. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. But these panic engages, this like Elk randomly deciding to arcane shift forward. Like, why? What is the point? You're a bit of poke. Like you don't gain anything from this, and it's things like that that are really hampering WE from becoming one of our top teams. Honestly, it feels like it's one of the biggest flaws they have in their gameplay.
Yeah, especially when they were as far ahead as they were, right? You're staring down the barrel of, well, you already gotten the Baron. You've the Infernal Soul coming up in just a few minutes. You have full control of the map. And instead of actually trying to play the map wide and having, you know, using the power of this Gwen pick and Bin, trying to use that elsewhere, they instead all try to just collapse onto this one play that goes completely awry. So I don't know. The shot calling from WE definitely off this game, but we'll have to see as they try to move forward.
Yeah, and our MVP from Game 2 was on the Rakan. He was just a perfect engage tool, was able to set up his team perfectly, and honestly, I'm glad to see him kind of slowly but surely filling in the shoes that Sword Art left.
Yeah, and definitely needed to have a standout performance here, because when it was backs against the wall, when Sunny needed something to come back, it was the pick in mid lane onto Elk that On found that started to turn the game back around. And consistently he was finding these big engages. And even though we didn't really look to see the combo we were talking about between On and SofM, On was still finding key members multiple times to slowly but surely turn the game back in Sunny's favor.
Yep, and now we're going to a best of one again. You know, we're going to that one final decider. It will be, you know, obviously the side selection goes to the losing team of this next one. So we'll see how they want to try and go for that one. But we're going to throw it to a quick break. And when we return, we will have the third and final game of today. Do not go anywhere.